Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back after a short hiatus, whatever you say it. Geek Syndicate is back, and what we're doing, what we always do, we're bringing the sass back to geekdom. I am Monts, and as always, my sidekick here is...
Your feeble podcast skills are no match for the power of the Nuge side.
Take it someone's a bit high on Star Wars.
No, I just turned to the Nuge side. That's what
the Nuge side.
The Nuge side.
The Nuge side. Is that like a good side or an evil side or like a neutral side? What is that?
There is no good and evil when it comes to the Nuge side. There is just the Nuge side. So,
for example, I'm just trying to get some clarity here. That's all right.
Yes, no, it's fine. I understand
that.
You know,
if I turned, it is. If I turned to the Nuge side, what would I do with my daily? What would I be doing from day to day? You know.
Probably cleaning windows.
What?
Because if you turn to the Nuge side, technically, that would make me like, do you know what I mean? I'd be top boy because I'm the Nuge, do you know what I mean? So you'd be like an underling. So
you'd have the ladder, you'd clean the windows upstairs.
No, because I'd be doing like evil shit. Well, not evil shit, because I'd be more grey, you know what I mean? But I'd be doing...
Grey shit. Yeah, I'd be doing grey shit. You need to get more nutrition in your diet.
You know what I mean? Running the world and stuff, and you'd be cleaning windows as my underling.
Why would I be... but if you're running the world, why would I be cleaning windows?
Because it's part of your training. Don't backchat the Nuge master. You do as you're told.
I haven't turned to the Nuge side yet. I'm exploring my options.
To be honest, I don't even know if you're up for it, mate, about exploring options.
If you're ruling the world...
It's not something you just roll up and go, I want to be a member of you. Yeah, come on in once. It don't work that way. There's a lot of work goes into coming onto the Nuge side, mate. This ain't like the dark side where you just like, you choose the quick and easy part. None of that nonsense, mate. It's work.
No, here's my question, yeah?
All right.
If you're busy ruling the world, why are windows a concern of yours?
Yeah, but when you get up to that level, when you get up to near my level, right, then you'll understand what the broad landscape is, what the plan is. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying about you might not be ready for it, because all you're seeing is that you're cleaning windows. You can't see that there's bigger shit going on. You know what I'm saying? You can't see that.
It's the shit on the windows. Is that what they need cleaning?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you need to just do as you're told.
I ain't into this like top-down form of henchman management.
Well,
that's not how you breed loyalty in your workers, in your minions.
You want to talk to the Knights of Nuge about that because the
Knights of Nuge.
Yeah, I told you I've been away. We haven't done this for a while, so I've had to like fill my time. Do you know what I mean? So I formed a little, you know what I mean, little cadre called the Knights of Nuge.
What do they do? Do they clean windows?
No, they don't, because they put the work in, mate.
So why would I be cleaning windows?
Because you've not put the work. How many ways am I going to tell this to you? You've not put the work in.
And the work is cleaning windows?
Yep. That's tier 1 of the Nuge side. Tier 1 Nuge side is window cleaning.
How long does it take to get to tier 2?
For you? Probably about 15 years.
See? I'm really not sure about this Nuge side stuff, man. I might just stay on the... I don't know. Anything else. I might just stay as Monts man.
Yeah, you do that, mate. You let me know that
Monts man. Yeah.
Let me know that works out for you.
Okay, with that, well, thank you for the clarity. That's all I wanted. Man.
Anytime.
Yeah. So, should we move on?
Yeah. The most surreal intro ever.
So, it's been a while. Yeah. It's good to be back. Any shout outs? Anything happened in the intervening couple of months have been away that makes you want to say hello to someone?
I'm sure there is. So I'd like to give a shout out to everyone who feels they deserve to get a shout out from me. What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, I'll second that. Yep. What's up? How you doing? Don't turn to the Knights of Nuge. You just clean the windows. And I wouldn't put him above the odd sacrifice. So, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
So, in that case, let's just get straight to it, man. Let's talk about the news.
Yeah.
It's time for the news.
News.
Okay.
Don't do
What have you got? What have you got?
I've got so obviously, unless you've been living on an island in the middle of nowhere, aka Luke Skywalker, you all know that the in fact, there's been a lot of big films come out recently, but the biggest one which has come out in the last sort of week or so is The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk a little bit about it later. Obviously, it will be non-spoiler, mainly because Dave hasn't seen it yet. And apparently, well, it's not even apparent, you only have to go on Twitter to be honest, it's been a very divisive movie. In fact, what people are saying
surprise.
I know. What people are saying is this is probably the most divisive Star Wars movie ever.
I've got to say, curiosity is, I don't think I'm going to get the chance to see it until sort of between Christmas and New Year. And just hearing, I mean, like you say, just having a quick look on Facebook, that people love it. Well, I was going to say, people don't love it or hate it. There's quite a big group of people who are just a little disappointed.
Yeah.
Who liked it but were disappointed. So, which is fair enough. But I mean, the range of emotions on this thing is huge. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is actually. Now, what's happened, and I've only discovered this today, is there's been people have started doing petitions.
I'm sorry, petitions for what?
Right. So the one that I saw, which I was just like, wow, is basically they have launched a petition to have The Last Jedi removed from the franchise's canon.
I beg your pardon?
Yep.
Grow the hell up, people.
The petition, which has been posted to change.org, has earned 1,800 signatures. So they might need to ramp that up, ramp the campaign up a little bit more if that's what they're after. So.
Do you know what? Here's the thing. If I create something, I'm the one who says it's in canon.
It's now up to 7,200 signatures, and as I'm actually looking at it, it's actually going up as I'm looking at it.
Listen. Whether I like something or not, yeah. If I create it, I decide whether it's in canon or not. Yeah, that's up to you. If you want to personally sit there and decide, do you know what? I don't like that. I'm going to take it out of my own personal perception of what Star Wars canon is. You crack on and do that. Yeah, but it ain't up to you. Yeah, here's the entertainment. Consume it or not, do with it as you will. But who are you to make demands on an author of something? That just gets me vexed.
Well, here's the argument. There's a counter argument to it. Well, it's not even a counter argument. It's just an interesting way to look at it, because obviously the architect of the Star Wars saga was George Lucas, who is no longer involved with it. You know, Lucasfilm has now been sold to Disney. George Lucas has stepped away from it all and left it in the hands of, is it Kathleen Kennedy? I think it is. So the argument is then, what do you do when your author, your architect, has left the building? I agree with you. I'm still kind of agreeing with you. But
I hear you. But I think, you know, once it's been passed on, they're the new custodians.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And I suppose, you know, it's their call now. They didn't pass it on to you. You know what I mean?
So it's...
My big thing is, do you know what? Someone's created some entertainment. So your job then is to go, do you know what? I do not choose to see this as canon. Job done. What are you starting a petition for? Ain't got better things to do.
When they brought out the prequel trilogy, right? So this is the interesting thing. When they brought the prequel trilogy out, other than the last film, which I thought was good, Revenge of the Sith, was it? Revenge of the Sith? Yeah. I enjoyed Revenge of the Sith. And in many ways, I kind of felt like Revenge of the Sith was... You could have just done Revenge of the Sith, really, and it would have been all good. You didn't really need the other two films. But, you know, that's what you did. That's what you did. I didn't particularly like them. There were good things in them, but I didn't particularly like them. And there was stuff about them that really wound me up. Midi-chlorians.
See, I didn't hear those. You said something there. I didn't hear it.
Exactly.
Because I've chosen to erase that from my personal canon.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that's a really good point, because that's kind of what I do. I kind of have my own personal canon in my head of how I believe certain things happen. So when there's plot points in films where I'm like, why have they done that? In my head, I then my little office of personal Canon comes out. Oh, I think we needed, boys. And they sit down and they put together and they craft together a whole little bit of personal Canon that slots into my mind. And I go, okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's cool. That's fine. I won't worry about midichlorians. She didn't die of a broken heart. It's all good. Do you know what I mean?
Laughing again.
But like, I've had this real journey with geekdom this year, and have you seen any of the trailers for The Last Jedi?
One. I didn't. I went to see Thor Ragnarok in the cinema, and there was a trailer. I couldn't avoid it.
Okay.
I came out.
Well, what I'll say is one of the things that came out might have been that trailer is the line that Luke Skywalker says about, if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's time for the Jedi to end. Was it in that trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say it in case I get like roasted by people, but I'm kind of this year. I've kind of started to think that way about geekdom.
No, I don't think you're alone.
Because
it's like, because someone posted a meme which I thought was quite funny. It's like a fan looking at The Force Awakens going, this film is too much like the original Star Wars. It's just ridiculous. And the same fan going, this new film has got nothing to do with Star Wars. And you're like, okay, you can't have it both ways, man. You just want to complain. And it's like, I don't know. The word I heard someone say was consumer privilege. It's just gone to another level.
Well, you've heard they've put out there's another petition flying around to fire the showrunner of The Walking Dead.
Why?
Now I can't really say, because it doesn't bother me because I don't watch The Walking Dead because it's a big spoiler, so I can't really say what the spoiler is.
Okay.
But other than the fact he's making a significant change to The Walking Dead, which if you watch The Walking Dead, I'm assuming you know what it is because it's already kind of happened.
I don't know because I'm way behind.
Exactly.
And to be honest, I've kind of
don't care.
I've kind of stopped watching, and I didn't want to. I just found myself not being that bothered about going back because it felt like rinse, repeat.
Would you want me to tell you?
And I actually started watching the spin-off Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
The first season was abysmal.
Right.
And my cousin convinced me to go back.
Right.
The second season, I really enjoyed. It was very different to The Walking Dead, and I quite enjoyed it. It kind of took a very different approach. I haven't watched the third season yet, but my cousin, who was a big Walking Dead fanatic,
yeah,
he said he stopped watching The Walking Dead and he loved the third season of Fear the Walking Dead. So I'm like, so I don't care if you tell me.
Okay.
And we can cut it just for us.
So I'm now going to tell Dave and then I'm going to cut it.
Okay, so Barry, for those who welcome back, Barry's told me what it is, and it's basically about a big deviation from the comic. That's a big one because the source material still exists, and you've made such a drastic change it doesn't hold with what people have been reading. So, number one, I understand why people are upset about that, but at the same time, there's been so many deviations already. It's a different animal now, and I think you kind of got to accept that. I'm a fan of being pure. People keep going, when you adapt something, it's got to change, and I'm like, it doesn't really. Shakespeare doesn't always change. Classics don't change. So when people say to me, it has to change, I'm like, okay, you say that. I'm not sure I believe you, but that's the way it goes. Mm-hmm. And you just deal with it because that's what happens. People adapt things and shit changes.
Yeah.
So deal with it. Walking Dead on TV has become its own thing. So you kind of got to accept that now.
But also,
there's been so many deviations.
But I think that's kind of almost beside the point once. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, whether they decide to make a change or do it exactly as is, the fact that people feel that entitled that they're going to sign a petition to have a dude fired because he's not doing things
the way you see
it. And I'm not being, and again, I don't want to kind of be that guy who's having a go at people, but, you know what I mean, that showrunner, whoever it is, they got to put, it's a job. You're talking about putting someone out of a job. This ain't no little fun debate we sit around.
You know what? You can sit around, you can come out and be as vocal as you like, saying that guy doesn't deserve his job. But petition, do you know what? Petition your government to put some more money into the NHS if you want to spend time doing something. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, so I don't know. This year I've just been a real kind of like geekdom, burn it down. Yeah, I feel like Luke at the end of like Return of the Jedi when he's like set light to his dad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just standing there because what we've become. I include us in there because I think sometimes we, you know what I mean, me and you slip up and whatever, right? We've become the Jedi in the first 3 films. Boom.
Yeah, and they were annoying. They couldn't see the evil within their own midst.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what geekdom's become. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it's become now. And instead of like one Darth Sidious, we just got loads of them scattered about, just fueling the negativity and the shit like that. And I'm all, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you go back and you listen to Geek Syndicate. Yeah, we'll cuss things out. We'll say, you know, we'll say things are shit. We'll say things don't work and whatever. But by and large, we try to bring balance to geekdom. You know, if we,
to the force.
if we review something, we try to sort of go, well, that didn't work for me, but that worked for me. And at the end of the day, we then turn around and go, but that's just our opinion. What do we know? And I still stand by that. I ain't no, you know what I mean? I ain't no professional critic or nothing. I'm just a bloke with a mic who just says what you know.
Yeah, but even critics, because I said this because I was reading some reviews of the play I've just been in. Mm-hmm. And there's one guy who gave me a great review personally, but he raised some points about the play, and I sat up and I went, do you know what? That's some good points. He said his thing, he's backed it up.
Yeah.
He's done whatever. I'm like, okay, do you know, I'll think about that. That's something to think about. Then I read another review, which was fairly complimentary to me again. When I read the rest of it, I was like, was this dude on crack? What damn show was he watching? How has he come to these conclusions? That is nonsense at the highest. So when it comes to critics and stuff, I'm like, you know, you may be a professional critic, but I still ain't going to take your word for nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you back it up and you whatever, don't talk nonsense. For instance, I saw someone, I didn't read it, fair spoilers, but it was like 17 plot holes in the new Star Wars film. And the comment from a friend of ours was, I don't think these people know what the word plot holes mean. I would call them things that haven't been explained yet. There's another film coming in the trilogy. Do you know what I mean?
It's a good point.
So if you keep making points that are nonsense, well, I ain't gonna listen to you.
I watched a YouTube video, which was 22 things about The Last Jedi that pissed me off. And I had a bit of a moment of clarity about 40 minutes in. I'm like, why am I watching this? You know what I mean? And I think that's the problem with social media now. Is there's just so many, and you know this, you know what I mean. But I've come off Facebook now because there's just so many like traps. You know, I feel like Indiana Jones trying to make my way through a temple. I'm like, all I want to do is just like check, see what some of my mates are up to on Facebook. But I feel I got to a stage where it's like I was just falling down pits of like negativity. Do you know what I mean? Or people were just like raging on something, or I couldn't even say I really enjoyed something without 20 people coming on my back going like, you know what I mean? Well, I hated it. Okay. Whereas if I see someone saying something on Facebook or social media saying how much they really enjoyed something, even if it's a show that I stop watching or don't like, I genuinely don't feel the compulsion to go on their feed and go, well, actually, I thought it was shit. Because
why piss on their parade, man?
Where's the debate on that? That's not the same as me saying, you know what I mean, I really liked this show, but I'm happy to debate it. If people didn't like it, come at me type thing. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know. Sometimes you make a comment on social media, it isn't always inviting response like that.
Yeah.
You know? So in the end, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to come off Facebook for a little while. And I'm glad. I've been off it nearly a month now, and I'm quite glad of that, to be honest.
Well, so Ian Sharman, he often, it makes me laugh on Facebook, he often puts stuff like, I saw this film, it was great. If you didn't like it, don't feel like you need to comment. And I'm like, do you know what? When it's got to the point that you have to put that.
A disclaimer.
Because he's basically going, I'm not here for a debate. I'm just telling everyone I really love this film.
Yeah.
I don't want to debate. I want to geek out about this film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's weird because after I saw, we'll move on to week that was at the minute because to be honest, that was the big news. You know, when I saw The Last Jedi, when I saw The Force Awakens, I remember we set up like a private Facebook group so people could come in, we could talk and whatever. And when I saw The Last Jedi, I was going to do the same. And then I suddenly thought, do you know what? I genuinely didn't want to debate my thoughts on the film about it. I kind of just wanted to just have seen the film, let the film affect me in the way it affected me, and then just take that away. I knew me and you would talk about it, but I was kind of like, do you know what? That's good enough for me. Because I think back to, actually, hold it up. We'll move on to Week That Was, and we start with Last Jedi, man. I need to just get it out of my system.
Okay.
Let's just move on, man.
I just wanted to give a shout out to a movie that's 20 years old this week.
Oh, yeah.
And I could rewatch this. I've rewatched this movie multiple times, and every time I enjoy the hell out of it. Yeah, and I don't care what no one says. I love this movie. Starship Troopers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you know, it's weird, right? I think that's a weird moment in my life where for one moment, I forgot about the fact that actually anything that crawled terrified me.
Oh, right.
Because we went to see this at the cinema, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And it was only when it started, I was thinking, I must have nudged you or someone, and someone was like, you know, this is about like giant space bugs. I was like, you what? And then it just started. I was like, what the hell? And don't get me wrong, there were quite a few elements to that film where like I just didn't see. I just heard gunfire because I wasn't looking at the screen.
Yeah.
But I think it was because they were so ludicrously CGI bugs and not necessarily real bugs. They were alien bugs. I was able to just look at them more as aliens. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Had they been like giant space cockroaches and they were actually clearly cockroaches or ants, no, just no. And to be fair, I'm never gonna see it again. So
I love it, man. I could watch it again and again. It's
a good film. I mean, it is good though.
Just wanted to give some positivity out there because I loved it so much. Also, I want to say to anyone listening, do you remember a TV show called Charlie Jade?
You told me about it. Isn't it a South African one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I am the only person, me and one other person, are the only people in existence who watched that show, which I loved. It was a great science fiction TV show of its time, but no one else seems to have heard of it. I don't understand how it could just go so quietly by. And that makes me go, what other amazing shows have just gone quietly by that I've never heard of?
Probably quite a lot nowadays as well, because there's just so much out there now.
Yeah, I actually put it on Facebook, and it was like one guy came back to me. One guy came back to me, and he was like, yeah, I loved it. I think you told me about it. I was like, oh, okay. All right, Charlie Jade, yay.
Right. Yeah, see, if you get a chance, go watch Charlie Jade.
Yeah.
I haven't got a chance, but, you know.
No. So, yeah. So, actually, it's a big shout out to Keith Cunningham.
Oh, okay.
Keith, as the only other person that's seen Charlie Jade.
Well done, Keith. You won't get a prize, but
we're a member of a very exclusive club.
Of two.
You, me, and the cast, probably.
I'm sure a few of them probably forgot about it now.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. All right, then. Right. So let's move on to the week that was. So this is the section where we talk about stuff we've read, listened to, seen, or whatever over the last week, except it's the last 2 months. Yeah. So you got something to get off your chest, have you?
Yeah, so I want to talk Last Jedi. So before...
I ain't seen it, though.
Yeah, hold up, man. Let me put my disclaimer out, and then it's all good. So I want to say up front that I'm not going to spoil it because Dave's not seen it yet, and a lot of other people ain't seen it, even though it seems that most of the internet seems to not care about that. So
I seriously don't know how I've avoided spoilers so far. I'm being so careful.
I don't know how he did it. I genuinely don't know how he did it.
A lot of people have been really good at putting spoilers follow.
In work yesterday, someone dropped I want to say it was probably the worst spoiler you could have dropped on someone. I was just, and he said it to me, And I was thinking two things. A, how am I going to try and style it out so the other guy next to me isn't going to realise that this is
realise.
Right? I don't know how well I did, to be honest. And B, I thought, had I not had seen it at the weekend, I would have been pissed.
Screwed, yeah.
Properly pissed. But what I find quite annoying, actually, and maybe some of this is because we're in the twilight of Geek Syndicate now. I don't give a shit anymore. It's like, no, man, I have to... Go
on. No, tell it.
Is that, like, we have a site, you know, and we have almost like a standing policy to, like, do our best not to spoil stuff, not to even put out vague titles that hint at spoilers because it's going to get us clickbait and stuff. Whereas it seems, I don't even know why we even bother, because it seems not every other site, but most sites just quite happily just dash out spoilers on their titles. And I'm kind of like, but you're supposed to be fellow geeks.
Yeah.
Why you got to behave like that? For a film that's come out like 4 days ago, if that. And I even heard someone say, like, yeah, but the film's out now. The film's been out for 4 days. People got lives.
The film's out now.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I saw someone on Facebook going, yeah, right, I'm giving you guys till Monday to see the film. Like, dude, I got kids. I've got a busy work life. I'm coming up to Christmas, busiest time of the year for me. How am I going to...
I'm giving you to Monday. You need to check yourself. Because look, end of the day, right? If I turn around now and go, Darth Vader is actually Luke Skywalker's dad.
I ain't seen Empire Strikes Back yet, man.
Now, if someone was to come at me and say they hadn't seen Empire Strikes Back, I would go, okay, apologies. But at the end of the day, that film came out in the 80s. Right? And I've had spoilers drop. I had The Sixth Sense spoiled for me because I hadn't seen The Sixth Sense. I saw Sixth Sense only about 5 years ago. That's a shame, man. And to be honest, I won't lie, it did somewhat change the way I viewed that film.
Yeah.
Right? To the extent that I'm not even going to drop that one here. Just in case. I don't want to be that one who passes on the legacy. But like, for a film, and this is the thing, this is where we are now with these films now, and TV shows, is you're lucky if you get a day before man's spoiling it. And then telling, and then dropping it with the reasoning behind it is, well, it's out now, you've had your chance. Effectively, if you don't see it on the day, that's your ass. It's open season. And I just don't subscribe to that. Sorry. I don't know what the length of time should be. Maybe, you know what I mean, there should be a council of geeks that come together like once a year to make policy and decisions like the G8 or something. I don't know. But, you know what I mean? And they should decide definitively what the length of time is appropriate before people can spoil it, and then everyone just has to sign some sort of accord that agrees it, like Sokovia Accords from Avengers.
I like it.
Do you know what I mean? I'll be up for that. I'll be up for that. Seriously, if they did that, I run it as a joke, but now I'm thinking about it. If they actually said, say like a month, right? Say like a month.
I remember a podcast somewhere where they came up with a statute of limitations for different media for spoilers. Oh, I can't remember who did it, but it was brilliant.
Yeah, I would say like a month. And say after a month, you know, almost like after a month, you can drop minor spoilers. After 2 months, you can drop like, it's open season. You talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, but then you got a choice. You got 2 months to see the movie or to watch the TV show. You know what I mean? But we don't get that. Anyway, that's besides the point. So that was part of the reason why I was lucky enough to go and see The Last Jedi, because I was like you, Monts, for a while. I thought I wasn't going to get to see it until after Christmas, but things happened and Sue and I were able to go and see it. And I would have loved me and you to have gone to see this, you know,
right?
Because I would have liked the two of us to come out cold and just talk it through. Do you know what I mean? Rather than the kind of, there's going to be a gap, and because your opinions change, because people make comments and they point out plot holes. And you go, I hadn't thought of that, and I enjoyed it, right? I really enjoyed it, and after having seen it, I've seen some of the criticisms about it, and I'm kind of like, you know what? I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point. So it's not a film without flaws. But you know what? None of them Star Wars films are flawless.
No.
Right? And if you think they, if you
think of a movie that is,
yeah, you know what I mean. However, my boy made some bold choices. That's all I can really say to you guys.
All right. Oh man, it's killing me. I need to.
Now,
okay.
I personally felt that I enjoyed The Force Awakens, but upon reflection, Force Awakens was kind of like Star Wars 2.0.
Yeah.
It's licking the same beats as Star Wars, the same, you know what I mean, let's build a super weapon to destroy planets and stuff. And
exactly the same.
It was hitting the same beats.
Nothing new to see here.
Yeah, but that's all right. That was all right, you know what I mean? So my overriding thing going into this film was I kind of wanted to see something different. I didn't want to see Empire Strikes Back 2.0. Now there are beats in there, I think. There are beats in there. People are saying it's vastly different from Empire Strikes Back, and I'm like, there are beats in there that are similar. But I think they tried to do different things, and
which they needed to.
I'm being very careful about what I say, right? But one of the big things about the film that people weren't happy about is the portrayal of Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
Is the way he's portrayed in this movie, because he's, you know, people perceive that he's different to how he should be.
But a lot of time has passed.
So I can't say anything, right? I've got a specific there's a specific thing in the movie that I have a specific counterpoint to, right? But I can't say it until you've seen it. So we'll
leave it.
Right?
Yeah, we'll revisit.
But what I will say is, and same for you, I've known you for a long time. The Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi was what? Late 20s?
Yeah.
Just say he was late 20s. Because he was really supposed to be kind of, you know what I mean, really
fresh.
18, 19 in Star Wars, you know what I mean? I'd say he was late 20s. All right, let's make him 30. I don't think so, but let's make him 30.
At a big push.
Right? When this film comes around, right, my boy's got to be, what, 70? In reality, Mark Hamill is, God, blimey, he's aging well. Yeah, Mark Hamill is 66.
Right.
So let's just look at it from that point of view. Let's say Luke Skywalker is in his 60s. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a fair assumption.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I know we've both known each other since we were 11. I knew you when you were in your 20s. You knew me when I was in my 20s, right? Since that time, we've both gotten married. You know, we've both studied. We've both had, I won't go into them for both of our reasons, but we've both suffered major life losses. And neither of us, we ain't even hit our 60s yet.
Yeah.
Right? And although the core of you is still the same, there's so much about you that has changed since your 20s. The 20-year-old Dave Monteith that I know is vastly different from the, you know what I mean, pushing 50 months that I know now. Yeah? And I'm pretty sure you could say the same of me. So to turn around and say to me, well, Luke Skywalker wouldn't do those things because that's not Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. Well, you're right. It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
30 damn years has passed.
Yeah, and they ain't been kind.
And they've not been kind to the man.
No, but see, this is one of my problems, yeah? This is one of my ongoing problems. It's like, so if you look at the comic universe, for example, in all them years, a lot of these characters ain't changed.
Yeah.
And people won't allow them to change. They won't allow the universes to evolve and develop and change. And they worry, we're struggling to get kids into comics. There's a reason why, because you keep feeding them your version of those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should have passed on, moved on, let new iconic characters. So the days of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, they'll never come again, because what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did was create new characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not doing that. We're creating characters like, Ironheart's a new character. Yeah, but it's basically a black teenage female Iron Man. Do you know what I mean? What's new? Give me something new.
And the thing is that's one of the things I liked about The Last Jedi was it was trying to do something different. You know, and I enjoyed what it was trying to do. I felt that some of the ways they used the Force in this film, I thought actually about time. Sometimes I personally got a bit tired of every fight. It was just, you know, lightsaber battle after lightsaber battle, and that's the only way the Force is utilised.
No, there was the odd Force push.
The odd Force push, yeah, a little bit of Force lightning, do you know what I mean? So I quite liked some of the things they did, and one thing in particular that I thought was brilliant. And it wasn't afraid to kind of ask a couple of hard questions about what the Jedi's impact was on the universe. You know? And they kind of got called out about it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Which was right. Which I felt kind of gave the prequel trilogy more weight. There's something that Luke says in it, and I was kind of like nodding along with him, and I was kind of like, that gives the prequel trilogy more weight because it's something that isn't really admitted to in the Star Wars films. Do you get what I'm saying? It's admitted to.
Yeah.
When you watch the Clone Wars cartoons or Rebels, you get, you know what I mean? You get a sense that people...
It's interesting because the Clone Wars cartoons finished off and I enjoyed the Clone War cartoons, but then it was mostly about the clones, really.
Yeah.
But what it did was finished off the way the prequel films made me feel about the Jedi, which was like, done with them.
Yeah.
But what Star Wars Rebels has done is reminded me of why I liked the Jedi in Star Wars.
Yeah.
In the original Star Wars things, it's made me like, you know, trust them again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they've come back to the heart of probably what the Jedi was set up to do.
Yeah. And I think that's what was good, is that it was... I think that's what was great about... And I can't say about what Luke says in The Last Jedi about the Jedi, because it is the idea that, like, they just got too big for their boots. That whole first trilogy is basically what happens when you get too big for your boots. You get too cock. Do you know what I mean? You get too cocksure for it. You get too cocksure yourself. So, and it makes me want to go back. Not, I mean, some of it on fast forward, but it makes me want to go back and watch the
on fast forward
the prequels again, because I think it's. I thought they were done showing the Jedi as heroic, as the heroic sort of characters being, you know, betrayed, manipulated, or whatever by Anakin. But actually, what you realise when you really check it out, what Lucas was trying to do was actually show that the Jedi was as much at fault as Anakin was, and that a lot of what Anakin was actually saying was kind of true from a certain point of view, to quote.
Yeah.
Because when you check it, at the end of the day, when they found out, on a side tip now, but when they found out that that the Palpatine was Darth Sidious, or they thought he was Darth Sidious, right?
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, going and telling the Senate or whatever, getting in, they just sent Samuel Jackson to take him out.
Yeah.
And there was no kind of like, we're taking you. It was like, we're here. Basically, I'm here with my boys, and we're taking you out. So actually, and the Jedi weren't supposed to be in charge. The Jedi worked for the Senate. So in many ways, they did rebel against the Senate because he was part of the Senate. So I think actually, when you look at it, that last one has got a few more layers of grey that even I didn't really check for. No,
see, I saw all of that. I was a bit sad because I was like, I like the idea of the Jedi as these knights that were doing good in the universe.
Yeah.
And I hate the kind of degrading of that somewhat.
Yeah. I think
go on.
I was going to say, I think the problem with where we are now with the films of our youth being redone, rebooted, whatever, is when they were the films of our youth, they were very, like, clear cut.
Yeah.
Clear cut. You know, they were heroes, they were villains. If you fought hard, you won the day. You know, and when now that they're bringing them back, what we're being taught is everything's grey. You know?
Yeah.
There's no good, there's no evil, it's just grey. And I get why that's kind of happening, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, come on, man, these are films for kids. You know what I mean? When we saw, and I know that might seem, I'm saying this as a 40-year-old man saying these are films, because that's what people say about geeks, oh, you're just watching stuff for kids. But they are aimed at kids.
Oh, they were.
They were, yeah.
Nothing is. Do you know? And this is. And the thing is, I get sad because nothing's aimed at kids these days. Nothing worth watching.
There's a lot of. I mean, I'd say that there's a lot of Last Jedi which actually is aimed at kids once, and I think a lot of the criticisms about it, I'm kind of like, yeah, but it's not aimed at you. It's not for you. You know what I'm saying? The original trilogy, that was for us. You know what I mean? When me and you went to see that, I can't even think how old we were now. We were, 12, 13? I don't know. And that ignited something in us. Do you know what I mean? That trilogy ignited something in our generation. Because that trilogy was for us at that time. Same for Indiana Jones. Same for Back to the Future. You know, same for the first couple of Superman films. Right? That was for us. So, when they're coming back and they're trying to restart these things again, yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with it in one respect. Because I know I'm going in saying, that isn't really for me.
That's for my 11-year-old.
You know what I'm saying? The core of...
Someone, Martin, said something really interesting on Facebook, and he goes, Star Wars films will never completely satisfy you, because the one thing they can't do is make you 11 again.
No.
And I was like, that's genius, actually. So you going in, you know, thinking exactly, just that. Don't need to comment on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, to be honest, that's a lot of what that film is. And when I've looked at people's criticism of it and stuff, and again, I say there's some valid criticisms, but I also know that the me seeing it if I was 11 years old and the me seeing it as a 48-year-old are two vastly different experiences. Also, when we saw Empire Strikes, I'm thinking, we saw Star Wars Empire Strikes Back to back, didn't we? We'd already seen Star Wars, but they brought out Empire Strikes Back when it was released. It came out as a double bill, wasn't it? We mean to see it. No one had seen Empire Strikes Back yet, right? Star Wars had started to get big, but there was nothing like the phenomenon there is now for Star Wars. Nothing, and we didn't have social media. At the end of the day, when we came at Empire Strikes Back, me and you talked about it. We talked to a few people at school about it. That's it. 10 people at most, Monts.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. True.
It's true.
True.
You know what I mean? 10 people at most. And that was your lot. That was your group. That was your peer group to discuss it with. You know? But the problem now is there are hundreds of films treading that same ground as Star Wars now. You know? So it's very difficult now to create something which you're just going to come out and it has blown you away and it's going to stay with you, because to be honest, in 2 months' time, something else is going to come along that's going to try and do that. You know? It's kind of like when I saw the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, I thought that film was wicked. But then there was another 10 films kind of came along afterwards, and after a while you just kind of forget about that one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just everything comes out thick and fast. It's like you say, back in the day, a film would come out, and that's all there was to talk about for maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
And now, film comes out, and there's 5 other films out currently coming out around the same time to talk about.
Yeah.
And catching up. And I mean, that's before we even start talking about TV.
Yeah. You know, which is why we call it what we call at the moment is the golden age of geekdom for content. Yeah. For content, it's the golden age of geekdom. The golden age of geekdom for other stuff, I would perhaps disagree with now. With the way we behave, the way we carry ourselves, the way we comment, the way we act on social media. Do you know what I mean? There's been times I've thought about and we've talked about it, times I've just thought about, do you know what, just quitting Geek Syndicate. We've talked about it before, but that's been more to do from the point of view of we're both busy, we've both got busy lives, you know, you're acting, we're writing. But now there's been times I've just been like, do you know what, I just don't want to be, I can't be bothered with it. Because it's just so much, you just feel like you're pushing the boulder uphill sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I came out of that film and I was like, man, I really enjoyed that film. And once, by the next day, I was like, you know, like in Airplane, where every time he's trying to tell the story and someone's trying to kill himself next to them. It's a little bit like that now when you come out. Any film you come out, even a film that seems by and large loved, you go on social media and everyone's on it. You know, every little detail is dissected. And we didn't have that with Empire Strikes Back or Star Wars. We could dissect it, but it was just within that little peer group that you had, not across the world like we get now, which is, again, it's a blessing and a curse.
It was, but I think when we started to go to conventions, it was fantastic to have that. Yeah. But I think at that point, people were coming from the same place and we were still reveling in, I don't know, the novelty of having a bigger group to discuss things here that we loved and so on. And at some point, I don't know, maybe it got too big to sustain itself.
Yeah. But, you know, as I said, overall, I really, really, really enjoyed The Last Jedi. But I think definitely what they're setting up to do, whether you like it or not, they're creating a new trilogy with new heroes, heroines, and villains for a new younger audience. And we can go along as the older people who have watched who grew up with those previous films, and we can go along and we can enjoy it because there's a lot there to enjoy, but they're not being made for us. I can't. People can disagree with that and whatever, but that's in my head. That's kind of how I see it when I go. If they did new Indiana Jones films now, like if they rebooted Indiana Jones, not if they did another Indiana Jones, that's with Harrison Ford, that's different. If they rebooted Indiana Jones, right, I would go and see those films, right, knowing that isn't my Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that's not going to be some 11-year-old's Indiana Jones. If they cast Chris Pratt as a new Indiana Jones, right, I'm going to be like, well, that's not Harrison Ford, but I'll go and check it out, and I might enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if they do a great film, in that audience, there's going to be an 11-year-old geek in there that's going to go on, and he or she is going to go on, and they're going to become the next Catherine Kennedy, next George Lucas, next Steven Spielberg. That's what it's about. It's about legacy. It's about passing stuff.
But you know what? I was thinking this about Star Trek Discovery.
Yes.
Yeah, which I'm enjoying a lot. Yeah, and it's got, to be unfair, it's got better as it's gone on.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a lot of people go, yeah, but it doesn't do this in terms of continuity. This doesn't work. And I'm like, all right, number one, the film's rebooted all that continuity. So why don't we just accept it for what it is? It's a new take on Star Trek universe. Do you know what I mean? We kind of have to let go of what's gone before. Deal with it.
Yeah, and I also think sometimes as well, you know, that's still there.
It's still there.
That canon's still there. That continuity is still there. It hasn't destroyed your continuity. It's still there.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I tell you, the one thing I was disappointed about was the last Star Trek movie, where they were on that planet and they found a very old starship that had crashed, and it was so retro looking. I was like, maybe when they do Discovery, because it's in the past, it will be retro looking ships. That would be so cool. And I'm like, you know what? There is nothing retro about them ships.
No.
at all, in the slightest. I wouldn't have, you know, I get maybe the young generation needs something that's a bit shiny still.
Yeah.
And if that's inspiring younger ones, although inspiring younger ones, but there's swearing, there's boobs on it. I'm like, okay.
That's what I struggle with. To be honest with
you know, if Star Trek's trying to reach that age, and this is what I just said, there's nothing for kids anymore.
Yeah.
As a kid, my parents could leave me in front of Star Trek happily.
Fairly confident that, yeah.
There was green slave girls doing sexy dances, but, you know, it's like, you could do with that. But it was like, I'm like, you didn't need to do those. It would have been just as compelling, just as good without doing that. But once again, we're not writing shit for young people to get inspired by. We're writing shit to make parents go, oh, I don't know if I can make them watch this. I'd like to, but I shouldn't. Oh, and then you got people going, oh, get over it. Just let the kids watch. Ain't your decision.
And I think that's what's good about Last Jedi is I think, you know, you can take kids to that and it's for the kids and you can get something from it as a long-time fan, you know. And the only thing, my biggest, there's a lot of positives, a lot of stuff I liked about it. The thing that I personally didn't really check for is the fact that even though Finn's character has an arc in this film, and there's definite growth in the character, I felt that when I watched The Force Awakens, well, even before I watched The Force Awakens, actually, when I saw the trailers and then the first half of Force Awakens, I thought it was very much going to be an even-handed film in terms of narrative. You know, I thought Rey and Finn were going to be on the same level, story weight wise. You know what I mean?
Mate,
and
you're gonna set me off.
No, I just, you know, you had him with the lightsaber, and I was like, and I was properly disappointed when it turned out he wasn't going to be the Jedi, and that's just me, you know, because people talk about wanting to see themselves in films, and I know it's great, and Rey and that was great, but I'm just saying this as a, you know what I mean, as a black kid growing up watching Star Wars, and we had Lando, who was great. Do you know what I mean? But I wanted a black kid with a lightsaber. I mean, yes, we did get Samuel L. Jackson, but I still say he was a bit of a shit Jedi. That's just me. And again, he wasn't driving the narrative of the story, I suppose, is what I'm coming back to. And I felt that Force Awakens started off that way, and then it quite quickly became clear it wasn't necessarily Finn's story in the same way. And I felt that I still think they could have done more with Finn. I'm just putting it out there. I still feel that he was, but there's another character that he teams up with, and she's great as well, you know, and I'm coming from the point of view, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Finn in it. You know what I mean? I think some of the comments people made, I'm like, I could disagree with that out the gate, what you're trying to say about him.
No, I know. So next year, there's a film coming out. I think it's slated for March of next year, called Ready Player One.
Yes. Yeah, go on.
So I decided to read it.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through it.
I decided to read it because a few people I trust said, "You've got to read it. I can't believe you've not read it already." That kind of thing. So I went and got it, and I started listening to the audiobook.
Yes.
Which is narrated by Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
Who's quite good.
Yeah.
And what's great about it is there's a bit where Will Wheaton's actually in the book. Or he's mentioned in the book because he got Will Wheaton reading.
Yeah, because was that how you listened? Is that how you?
Well, I swapped between.
Oh, okay. I listened to all of it.
Because if I was in a place I could listen, I'd listen, and if I had the choice to read, I'd read. So I kind of swapped between, which is interesting. Actually, I've never done that before.
No, I tend to do one or the other.
Yeah. I think because it was going to take me ages to get through listening if it was just listening because of the way my life is.
Yeah.
So number one, so you know how people feel about Stranger Things?
Yeah.
In that, like, you know, if you grew up in the 80s, you're all over that TV series. If you grew up in the 80s, let me tell you, this book is for you. If you played arcade games back in the day, this book is for you. If you watched TV or movies back in the day, this book is for you. If you listen to music, albeit a certain type of music, back in the day, then this music, not for me. Do you know what I mean? I didn't recognize half the songs in this. But if you were a child or a teenager in the 80s, this book is for you. The characters playing video games are going, hold on, I used to play this in the arcade with Barry.
Let me tell you, I started reading this, and I don't even think he was even in the first 3 chapters, and they dropped Defender, and I was like, I'm all over this now. I'm all over it. Defender, Burger Time. I think they even mentioned in television console, which I had.
Yes. Oh, I can't. I mean, I just Dungeons and Dragons is in there, and they're talking about, you know, you remember what was on the cover of the Dungeons and Dragons, like screen and stuff, and it's all there. And I'm like, oh my, this guy is talking about my youth. Yeah. Big ways, and some of the games in there. And there was one game in particular, I remember playing this in the arcade at the bottom of my road. And I went online and they've got an emulator and they did a version of it. And so I played it before the character played it in the book. And I was like, that's just, so I'm looking forward to the movie, but I'm a bit worried.
Do you know what? I saw the trailer. Weirdly, I saw the trailer before I started reading the book, and I saw the trailer, and I was kind of like, yeah, it looks alright. Just looks a bit like Tron, doesn't it? I was like, yeah. And it was all that kind of like, spot the cars and look, it's Acid DeLorean from Back to the Future. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's alright. Then when I started reading the book, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get what everyone's on about now. This is tight. But I then started to have that creeping worry because I'm kind of like, how are you gonna, not even from a narrative point of view, from a legal point of view, how are you gonna get all these references in there?
I don't know.
And I also noticed, reading up afterwards, because I spotted some other video game characters in there, and what they've done is they've added other video game characters, like more recent ones, so that kind of tallies in, so people can recognise them if you weren't around the 80s. And I can
understand why they would do that. But the whole point, is
exactly,
to get excited about the 80s. That is the raison d'etre of this book.
Yeah.
To be excited about. So get people excited. No, get them excited about let them go and look it up.
Yeah.
If I watch a movie and there's stuff referenced that I don't know, but I'm excited about the movie, I'll come home and get on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
That's what let them do that. My other concern is with one of the characters.
Ooh.
Well, there's a bit in the trailer where this woman says, "Yeah, welcome to the Resistance," and I'm like, I've read this book. There ain't no resistance. What resistance? What are you talking about? I mean, that is the very fundamental. That's a very fundamental change there,
right.
And but one of the characters. So I'm very not happy about the casting.
Okay, so I've read. So who's the character first, and then I can say straight away if I.
Artemis.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's roll with it. I'm be careful because I've not finished reading it.
All I'm saying is the person who's been cast in that role does not match the description in the book, and there's a very specific reason. If not, he describes as Rubenesque, which just kind of means bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. He cast a skinny girl. I'm like, you know what? You had the chance here to show some. We keep playing with this word diversity. He had the chance to show that someone can be in a movie and not be cookie cutter size.
Yeah.
Same as, and there's like, and there are actors and actresses out there who ain't all the same size. You had a chance to be faithful to the book and show something different, and you've just thrown that away. To me, this is like what happened with, what's it called? Wizard of Earthsea?
Yeah.
In which none of the characters were white. And Ursula Le Guin sold the rights to the studio and said, "You got to respect the book." And they said, "Yeah, absolutely." And then in the movie, there was only one black character.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, obviously you haven't respected that. And I'm like, I don't know. It's not a big thing. That's one character who could be a little bit chubby and it'd be all right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even have to make a thing out of it. But you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Annoys me. Can I just say, I got a friend of mine and she became, when she was younger, she wanted to be an actress and they told her she was too big. But she went off, she gave up, just went away, got too dispirited by it. And I'm like, there's a chance to show people you can be an actor, whatever. But no, because you're Hollywood. And I find that really, I don't know, I find that really sad, actually, for want of a better word.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, annoys me. But anyway.
But the other thing I would say is just how cool the book is.
Yeah.
Is that, so the guy who wrote it, Ernest Cline, where is it? Yeah, on his 10 months after the book was released, he said on his blog that the book itself contained a hidden Easter egg. Because the whole story is basically about finding Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And he said, and I quote, "The clue would form the first part of a series of staged video gaming tests similar to the plot of the novel. He also revealed that the competition's grand prize would be a DeLorean."
So is that still going then? Is that a real thing?
Nah, listen. The game Ultimate Collector Garage Sale by Austin-based developer Portalarium was featured in one part of the contest. The final stage of the contest was announced on August 1st, 2012 and was to set a world record on one of several classic arcade or Atari 2600 games. This was completed on August 9th, 2012 by Craig Queen.
Damn.
He was awarded the DeLorean on the TV show X-Play. That's talk about taking it to the next level, man.
Damn. It made me want to go and dig up old arcade games.
Didn't it just?
I think we definitely need to do a feature on the games we played as kids.
I'm up for that.
You know, because it really reminded me out of the 80s and just phenomenal. I've not finished it yet, so I've still got about a quarter of the way to go, but I'm really, really enjoying it. And I'm really glad that I've read it before the film because...
Absolutely.
The hope that I have is it's being done by Spielberg. And nothing says 80s like Spielberg.
Yeah. I have some worries about the movie, which I think are very well-founded ones, but the book is all kinds of awesome, man.
My last thing on the positive, I've got to say, are you watching The Flash?
Yeah, I'm well behind, though.
How many episodes have you seen?
I'm like on episode 3, I think.
Oh, okay. All I'll say about The Flash is, right, and it's going to be an applause.
Oh, really?
Right? So you've seen the dude in the flying chair?
Yeah. Do you know what his name is?
Thinker.
Oh, okay.
Because he's someone from the comics, isn't he?
Yeah, I wondered if he might be someone else, but...
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for
Sorry
that.
to burst that bubble, buddy. He may well be. He could be an amalgam of two characters. I don't know. But that's what they call him in the Flash anyway. Proper villain.
Right.
In that, I don't know about anyone else, but I was getting a bit tired of, like, the villain's speed.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
His powers. I run really fast, and you need to learn how to run really fast to be able to beat me again.
Can I just say, no. There's watching an episode where, like, Flash is chasing the bad person, and he slips on some marbles.
Yeah.
He's like, marbles. My thing is like, just get up, get past the marbles, and start chasing them again. I was like, what are you sitting there for going, seriously? Marbles? I was like, get up.
I have to say, right, there seems to be a lot of stuff with these powers sometimes where, like, they seem to work and then they don't seem to work. Because there's one I watched and it's a mild spoiler, right? But I won't say the context where literally he's got the person cold, right? And then the person kind of does something and then the Flash kind of has to deal with that thing. And then he turns back, right? And there's like a door swinging because obviously the person run out. You know that classic trope? Someone runs out the door and you run out after them and you look down the either side of the street and you can't see them. You know that one? Right?
Yeah.
So he runs out, super speed, looks both ways and they're gone. And I'm like, there is no way on earth that man could have chipped that quick down that flight of stairs and got out before the fastest man alive would have caught up with him. Nonsense.
No, so the other one that's cracked me up is Supergirl.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think it might be episode 2. She's taking on a kind of psychic woman.
Oh, yeah.
And so the first time she takes her on, like, basically this psychic woman kicks her ass. And the second time she turns up and goes, stop right there. And I'm like, hold on, she's psychic, man. Why are you giving her a chance? And then she kind of just stands there posing, goes, stop right there. I'm ready for you now. Obviously you're not, or you wouldn't have given her a chance. It's like, why? And it's just these things which I know you got to do in TV to, like, spin it out. But they're so obvious things. It's just kind of make you go, that's just lazy writing, man.
I have to say that I almost have to come up with a term that's called backseat superhero driving. And by that term, what I mean is we as the viewer sit at home with a cup of tea or a glass of whiskey and then just put it at the screen and, like, come up with 100 different ways they could have dealt with that situation differently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I saw that episode, I'm like, you got the amount of tools she's got in her arsenal that she could have used to have taken her out.
Well, see, my thing is, I appreciate that, like, when you're in it, your reactions are going to be different. Yeah, I appreciate that. But at the same time, I grew up in the 80s, yeah, as a black man on the streets of Tottenham, yeah. So there's this thing called self-preservation. So I ain't even putting out that you might be in a moment and not really know what to do. But when someone's got the drop on you, you got to do what you need to do to get out of there alive. This ain't about thinking it through. It's just about reacting to, like, save your skin. She kicked your ass once, man. Don't be messing about.
You throw
Don't be messing
a
about.
girder at her from, like, 20 miles away or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just come in with freeze breath or something. I don't know.
No, my whole thing is don't introduce yourself.
Just do
don't
what you got to do. Yeah.
Don't advertise that you're there. Don't get into conversation.
Well, it's kind of like it's like every time when the Flash kind of faces off with someone, and it's the fact that he faces off with someone, right? You've already established that person's a villain, right? Why are you running, then stopping, and then going, give yourself up? There's nowhere to go. I would be running in with cuffs. Cuffs are on. They're in the station, and then we're having a conversation.
Yeah, I guess it just wouldn't make great TV.
Or they're locked up under Star Labs. I'd tell you, if I was the Flash man, Star Labs would be RAM. Every episode of The Flash would last about 20 seconds, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Another job well done.
We need to figure out, look, Cisco, I don't want no funny names. Just tell me where they are right now.
Yeah.
Once they're in the holding cell, you got all the time you need to come up with whatever cool name. But right now, all I need to do is just tell me where they are. I'll go and do what I've got to do. Done.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, time is done, man. I enjoyed that.
Okay. Well, that was, in many ways, it seems fitting to end the year on a larger episode than we've put out recently, seeing that we've not even been here for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And we will be back in the new year.
Yes, we will.
Crossed. With more news and reviews galore and other such nonsense. But in the meantime, geekdom, right? Let's go out there. Let's be kind to each other, man. Right?
And listen, let's have a good time.
Have a good time. Ease up on people. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of emotion going around with The Last Jedi. I get that. Everyone's been waiting for them films for a long time, yeah. But let's just in our dealings with people, whether or not you liked it or didn't like it, yeah, let's just be respectful. You can have debate, you can have conversation, but let's just be respectful. That's all you got to do, man. You know what I mean? Don't make me have to come out there and start dry slapping some people is what I'm saying, basically.
I hear that. Yeah. So have a good Christmas, people, a good New Year. We'll see you on the other side. If you've got the time, because I know Christmas is a busy time, just get in touch because we've been missing for a while. So let us know if you agree with us, if you don't agree with us, whatever you think. Just be Christmassy. You know how to do it. The Geeks at geeksyndicate.co.uk. We're on Facebook. We're on what's the other one called? Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on, stuff. So you can find us. So until next time.
And sorry, before I forget, for 2 weeks over Christmas, I'm back for a one-man show. Rum Tum Tucker Sleigh Bells. Come and see me, peeps. It's going to be legend.
Why do I not cut you off?
Why don't you be more like the Flash should be?
Yeah, exactly. All right then. So until next time, folks. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Geek Syndicate. Ho ho ho.
What you gotta do that for?
It's Christmas, isn't it?
But you didn't say. We're supposed to do We Out, and if we're not going to do We Out, then you should email me or something beforehand so I know. Fine.
I've just sent you an email.
Yeah, great. Happy Christmas all.
Geek Syndicate.
We out.